Do I have a motion to
I make a motion to accept.
second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item number 4, approve the minutes of the February 5, 6, 2021 retreat meeting and the February 11th, 2021 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 5, consent agenda. Accept Mint Hill events request for the noise ordinance waiver during Mint Hill Madness. B, accept February tax collector's report. C, consider declaring portions of tax parcel 135-191-15 and 135-191-18 as surplus property. D, accept the January treasurer's report and financials. And E, accept the audit extension contract with Rao Craven and Short.
So
Make a
moved.
motion, we accept the consent agenda.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I'm going to move a proclamation up at this point in time because we have somebody here to speak to it. I want to make sure the proclamation's read before they speak. So, whereas the town of Mint Hill is enthusiastically celebrating its 50th anniversary of incorporation on March 11th, 2021. And whereas Mint Hill was settled by determined colonists around the year 1750, and whereas the town was truly founded around Philadelphia Presbyterian Church, which began in 1770, and whereas the name for Mint Hill most likely originated from the vast amount of wild mint growing in the town, or the gold coins many say were made here in the gold rush days of the early 1800s. And whereas Mint Hill officials forfeited the original town charter in 1910 so that Mecklenburg County would establish a thoroughfare in town, the county had declined to construct streets, highways through incorporated areas. 50 years ago today, Mint Hill became incorporated again after 61 years. Whereas Mint Hill has been the birthplace of thriving businesses, vibrant parks, charming trails, exciting sports, magnificent Mint Hill madness, learning opportunities, plentiful culture, and abundant history. And whereas the town of Mint Hill has provided a humble and welcoming hometown to nearly 27,000 individuals that value hard work, teamwork, creativity, adaptability, integrity, community engagement, ingenuity, trust, and so much more. Now, therefore, I, Brad Simmons, Mayor of the town of Mint Hill, North Carolina, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, do hereby proclaim March 11th, 2021 as 50th anniversary of the town of Mint Hill, in celebration of the 50 years of cooperation, innovation, investment, and humble pride evident yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Witness my hand and seal of the town of Mint Hill this 11th day of March, 2021. Brad Simmons, Mayor. Item number 6, public hearing of ZC 21-1, filed by Shea Homes to allow a conditional district rezoning from R to RCD to allow residential development located at 14250 Cabarrus Road, parcel number 139-401-02. The public hearing is now open.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to continue this public hearing on ZC 21-1 until our April 8th meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Do I hear any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 7, public hearing on ZC 21-2, filed by CJMJ LLC to allow a conditioning district rezoning from IGCD to IGCD to allow a reduction of the 100-foot undisturbed buffer to 50 feet to facilitate an expansion of the existing gravel parking yard area for property located at 13320 Joe Mack Drive. That's parcel number 139-092-30. The applicant's are here present with us this evening. If you, sir, would state your name and your address for the record, please, and then you have the floor. Can I get you to speak up just a little bit so everybody can hear you play? That's fine, you can pull it. Thank you, sir. Go right ahead.
Commercial vehicle facility. CNN was founded in 1982 and incorporated in 1991. 60 to 100 commercial vehicles, and expansion would provide storage for an additional, for approximately 40 vehicles. This is the view of the current facility. Expansion would occur to the west of the parking lot, to the southwest corner of the existing facility. The proposed expansion includes a reduction of the buffer. There's a 100-foot undisturbed buffer as part of the conditional use currently assigned to that property. The proposal is a reduction of that buffer width from 100 feet to 50 feet of undisturbed buffer, and also is expanding the parking facility further towards the 51 road frontage. Ooh, went too far. Current zoning is IG CD. That zoning would stay the same. It would just be a change to the conditions. And the proposed additional storage is approximately 2.067 acres. And the proposed expansion would be operational in 6 to 9 months. And that's all I have. If there's any questions?
Commissioner Long, do you have any questions?
Not at this time, no, sir.
Commissioner Cochran?
Not at this time, no, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem Dalton?
Are you looking at doing a buffering between your property and Highway 51?
Yes. We would utilize the 50-foot of undisturbed area as a buffer towards that. That doesn't front along 51, but the area that abuts 51, we would propose a landscaping buffer.
With the same chain link fence you've got around the current property?
Yes. On our side, and then the landscape buffer on the outside, so that all you would see would be the landscape buffer.
Commissioner Holton?
So this addition that you're proposing is to what, to store more semi-trailers?
That's correct.
Okay, and that'll be buffered right along Blair Road 51 right there?
That's correct. Not for the total length of it. A portion of that property abuts to other properties, but approximately a third of the new area would abut the 51.
So when you're talking buffer, how high, or is there going to be any height to it, or is the one thing you see when you come in on Blair Road is going to be the back end of semi-trucks?
We are amenable to adding height to it. If that's something we can certainly include in the buffer, that would be something we could include. A raised buffer with landscaping on the raised area.
That's all I got.
So,
And I'm just going to ask one, it's just for clarification, because I already knew the answer to this, but I forgot.
sure.
The properties that were going from a 100-foot buffer to a 50, that you're requesting, that were going from 100 to 50 foot, are those commercial properties? Are those residential properties? What is the current zoning on the property owner's property? Do you know that?
Those are residential.
Okay.
I'd also note that the development that will actually occur there, because of the topography of the site, 50 foot would remain undisturbed, and then it would be approximately 40 to 50 feet before we reached
the actual fence. So you'd actually have more space than that 50-foot that's left undisturbed.
Yeah, it's just been a while since I saw it, so I couldn't remember. Any further questions?
So you're saying on the residential side, you're gonna have, what I just heard you say, you're gonna have a 50-foot buffer plus another 30 to 40 feet. You're talking about maybe 90 feet before you'd be parking the back end of a semi-truck?
Approximately, yes.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Thank
Is
you.
there anybody here to speak, public comments on this particular item number, ZC 21-2? Is anybody here to speak to that? If not, we'll close the public hearing on item number 7, ZC 21-2. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. Item number 8 is public comments. Town Manager Welch has some I know he has that he'd like to read, but we have a special guest here tonight that's going to speak to us on our 50th anniversary. So, Mayor Long, I'm going to ask you to come to the microphone, and we're going to let you go first, if you would, please, sir.
Two, test.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. I didn't know that I was going to get up and be recognized as a celebrity, but I do feel honored that you have recognized me on this particular day. Before I give you a background of this day as it relates to the town, I would like to take this time to particularly thank the Mint Hill Fire Department for a deed that they did for me day before yesterday. I was awakened by an unpleasant telephone call, of which I get a lot of these days, wanting to buy my house. And I got rid of them, and I decided, well, I'll just stay up. I stayed up, put my shoes on, went to the kitchen to get a drink of water, and my front yard and drive was loaded with fire trucks and firemen. And I thought, oh my gosh, has one of the kids in the neighborhood been hit? And I rushed out as much as I can rush. And there was a group of young friends. Now, I have always said that the fire department is my friend. There were a bunch of my friends digging up an old flagpole to install a new one. They had dug out the foundation of the old one and had poured concrete and a sleeve for the new one. And folks, if you ever are down Crest Hill Drive, just across the street, the third house on the right, more identified by the flagpole and the flag and the light that they installed for me. I know nowadays it's not the Mint Hill Volunteer Fire Department, of which I was a member of, but it's part of the operation of the town of Mint Hill. And I wanted you to know how pleased and proud I am of our firemen and our fire department. And then to go to the celebration. 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago, the J.C.'s in the community, headed by Lauren Quillen, inquired as to the possibility of incorporating Mint Hill again. They proceeded and called meetings in Bain School, and it seemed like there were more interested in incorporating than not, although there was opposition. One thing that was said during those preliminary hearings, and John McEwen was the chairman of the committee that appeared before the General Assembly to seek incorporation. But at that meeting in Bain School, John made a statement that we would be required to assess not less than 5 cents per $100 on taxes. Well, we had a smart aleck in the audience that spoke up and said, you don't have to collect it. And we lived with that the whole 4 or 5 years, but we were fortunate, and honestly, I wondered how in the heck I got elected mayor and what kind of a situation we had got ourselves in. I learned to pray, and I asked God to give us the ability to make decisions to make Mint Hill proud. We had been proud of Mint Hill for years before the incorporation. As a member of the VFW, we instituted projects to better the community, such as Bob Quillen instituted the PADA, Piedmont Area Development Association. And that was a group of citizens to improve the quality of life in Mint Hill. We had people painting mailboxes and doing things like that. We had, I know one summer, I contacted the Mecklenburg County Recreation Department, and we had an intern specializes in athletics that came out here and trained or taught the youth of our community in sports and all other activities. And we just made a strong effort to make Mint Hill a better place to live. I really am at a loss for words as to where to start in how we started this town. It was started, I was sworn in at the VFW, and we moved from there to a little place up here about where the feed store is. We went out and begged trees from farmers, sawed those trees, took them to Allen Station, and sawed them up, built that VFW post. That was a result of the program that followed World War II. Bob Quillen was an agriculture teacher at Bain, and Bain was a high school. He started a program to rehabilitate returning veterans. Instead of learning how to saw a piece of timber or do a piece of plumbing, we talked about our experiences in World War II. Bob decided there's too much energy going to waste here. Let's form a VFW and do community service. And that's how that started. Getting back to the town itself, I don't know, we had ordinances that we passed. They had litter ordinances. I'll never forget one that I took a cussing on about litter. Another one, in one year, we did an official survey. And that survey left lots that had been included in the incorporation on the west side up Lawyers Road. They wanted to be away from Charlotte. But the official survey, as it was presented to the General Assembly, brought that side of it in to Betty Wallace's. So on the east side is where I took the two biggest cussings I ever had. One fellow's property was halfway in the town of Mint Hill. He blessed me out for putting half of him in Mint Hill. And I asked him to appear at the town hall. The town hall was a barber shop up here where CVS is now. He said he would, but he never showed up. But the official survey made a little over a year after the incorporation had him on the east side all the way in Mint Hill. And that's when I took cussing number 2. But some of the things that I can clearly remember was I tried to get water into Mint Hill. Mint Hill was wells and septic tanks, and people were having trouble with both. And I met with Lee Dukes with the water department. And we had plans to put a big tank up at the end of Pine Hill, the highest point in eastern Mecklenburg County. And my tour of duty ended when that was being discussed, and I think the discussion stopped. But thank goodness future boards since then have come up with some extension of water lines. And two things that I want to specifically point out that I'm the proudest of was in 1974, we wanted a stoplight at the square. And everybody was for that. And I had sat in the Masonic Lodge at Midland with a fellow who was engineer of the Department of Transportation in Albemarle. And I contacted him, and it was the smoothest operation I think could ever been. He knew what we wanted, what we needed, and designed an intersection with proper signals. And the only thing that was a little bit of a headache. I worked in Concord and was off only on Wednesday afternoon. I spent one whole Wednesday afternoon getting signatures of property owners around the area that the stoplight would affect. And of course, all were in favor. The problem was, back then, property extended to the center of the highways. And they had to have about an 80-foot right-of-way, I think, to install that traffic light, because they had future plans to widen Highway 51, which they did. But that is one thing that I am proud of. The second was the formation of the ambulance service. We had a hearing. It had to appear before the town council before Mecklenburg County would accept our application for ambulance. And I only voted in case of a tie. And I had to vote that night for ambulance service. I've never been more proud in my life of an action that I was part of than getting Mint Hill ambulance service. I would put it up against any, as long as it lasted. And I don't know if too much more of a highlight to say other than I am so proud how others have continued to direct Mint Hill in the paths that it has taken. When I was mayor, we had 2,300 population. Can you imagine that, 2,300? And I heard 27,000 mentioned just a few minutes ago. But thank you, thank the previous boards for their service and their endeavor to make Mint Hill a better place. Thank you so much.
Well, we would be remiss if we didn't thank you for blazing the way for all of us. You left some awful big footprints along the way, and I've talked to many of the mayors who have followed after you, sir, and you set the example that many of us are trying to still accomplish today, and we thank you for your service over the years to Mint Hill.
Thank you.
We have some other public comments that were asked to be read into the record. I ask Town Manager Welch to come forward and read those, please.
Yes, sir. I believe this one is in reference to ZC 20-10.
Okay?
Helms Lawyers Road Project, benefits to Mint Hill. New traffic light, not paid for by Brighton Park, Lawyers Glen, Niblock New Homes, True Light Neighborhoods. Nice neighborhood to replace rental houses. Increase income for local businesses. Increase tax income for Mint Hill. Greenway accesses, walkability. More attractive exterior choices. Better choices for townhomes in Mecklenburg County for Mint Hill.
Who was that from?
I assume it's from Mr. Helms himself, Mr. Jerry Helms. Next is from Sue Woodward. Traffic is a major concern. Townhomes can bring our property values down. More residents could potentially increase crime in Mint Hill. Does the town have enough police officers to cover all the new residents? How will the town keep the townhomes from becoming a drug-infested community like the apartments on Margaret Wallace? Will the townhomes have rental restrictions? Thank you. Also, in relation to ZC 20-10 from Carol and Albert Allen, 10444 Surrey Court. For the past 25 years, we have lived in Mint Hill. Our home in Mint Hollow touches on the property that is currently under consideration for rezoning. We have several concerns about this rezoning application and the proposed development. We have reviewed the master plan for Mint Hill, including the downtown overlay plan. In our opinion, the plan is a thoughtful vision for Mint Hill, so it is disturbing that the plan may be compromised to include the property under consideration. The proposal for this property is not in the spirit of the master plan. Only a very small amount of property touches downtown Mint Hill, and it truly is not part of the downtown. Yet, the proposal would allow density that the plan envisioned would occur only in the downtown area. Additionally, of significant concern is the amount of traffic this development will bring to Mint Hill, and specifically to Lawyers Road. During the best of times, turning onto Lawyers Road is a challenge. It is already difficult and at times dangerous to turn out of our neighborhood at peak travel times. The new development will have drivers from 130 additional homes turning onto Lawyers Road from a single exit, and the addition of a traffic light at True Light and Lawyers would only exacerbate the problem in the afternoon when traffic would almost certainly back up past the exit from the new development. Lawyers Road is a connector from Charlotte to Union County. As development continues in Mint Hill, the amount of traffic could soon be untenable. This proposed development will significantly worsen traffic on an already overused stretch of Lawyers Road and contribute to increased backups of traffic at Lawyers Road and Highway 51. While we understand the advantage of having the developer pay for work on the Greenway, those of us who could use that portion of the Greenway can already walk to downtown Mint Hill on Lawyers Road. While we would prefer the Greenway in an ideal world, the benefit of the Greenway is nowhere near enough to justify the cost of traffic problems that would arise from this development and an abandonment of the vision set forth in the Mint Hill Master Plan. Therefore, we ask that you deny the rezoning application and preserve the existing zoning consistent with the Mint Hill Master Plan. Again, in relation to ZC 20-10, from Nancy Merrick, 10438 Surrey Court. Please deny the rezoning petition ZC 20-10. Increasing the density of the property is inappropriate for several reasons. First and foremost, it does not qualify for the intended rezoning. It would not adhere to a key element emphasized in the downtown overlay plan for the Teeter property, which should include, quote, variety of housing styles and types with the highest intensity of uses in close proximity to the neighborhood shopping center and the square, transitioning to single-family uses adjacent to the surrounding neighborhoods, end quote. Brighton Park does an excellent job following this key element. Townhomes are at the center, surrounded by detached homes. As this property is even further out than Brighton Park, its density does not qualify to be greater, nor does it qualify to have a greater density than the Traditions. A secondary but perhaps more important reason to deny the rezoning is the adverse effect on traffic on Lawyers Road. Congestion is sure to increase from not just the addition of hundreds of vehicles, but also the poor traffic flow between the property and the westbound lane of Lawyers Road. A traffic light at True Light Church Road will not alleviate these problems. Thirdly, there is significant concern about drainage and water containment. Please deny the rezoning. Thank you, Nancy Merritt. Finally, from Karen Trauner, 8835 Brigadier Lane. In 2018, a bill called HB 514 passed into North Carolina law. Mint Hill was one of 4 towns specifically mentioned in HB 514, which gives these towns the rights to build their own school system if they felt CMS wasn't responding adequately to their needs. With town-operated schools, admittance could be prioritized for local students. This angered CMS, which said that any towns that built their own schools would go to the bottom of CMS's priority list for new school construction. The new elementary school being built on Ottawa was planned and budgeted before HB 514. After the June 4, 2018 passage of HB 514 into state law, the other 3 towns named in the bill set up committees to investigate their options. Cornelius withdrew from the bill in October of 2019. Matthews withdrew in February 2020. These 2 towns are back in CMS's good graces. Huntersville has not made any decision yet, but their advisory committee suggested they consider building their own school system. Mint Hill has never publicly discussed the bill, either with its residents or CMS. Ignoring this situation will not make it go away. Ignoring it could leave us at the bottom of CMS's priority list for new school funding and building. Due to the amount of new home construction in Mint Hill, we're going to need more schools. Either we build and run our own school system, which would keep us at odds with CMS, or we tell CMS we aren't interested in doing so and get removed from the bottom of their priority list. Currently, HB 514 has a lawsuit filed against it. There are allegations that the school is discriminatory and racist and aims to undo the school desegregation of the last 8 decades. Right now, school systems across the country are watching Mint Hill and Huntersville. We're being represented to the country as being racist and discriminatory. Is this who we are? Is this who we want to be? Either we accept the rights given us by the passage of HB 514, or we renounce our intent to build our own schools. Either way, we have to make a decision, and it has to be made sooner rather than later. I'm hereby requesting that the board researches this situation and reaches some sort of decisive action plan before it's too late. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Item number 9, discussion on ZC 20-10 filed by NVR Incorporated to allow conditional district rezoning from R to RDO-A CD to allow a residential development located at parcel numbers 135-381-67, which is 10524 Lawyers Road, 135-381-66, which is 10600 Lawyers Road, parcel 135-381-64, 10616 Lawyers Road, and parcel number 135-381-65, that's 10608 Lawyers Road. This item has been deferred until our April 8th, 2021 meeting. Item number 11. Whereas I, Brad Simmons, Mayor of Mint Hill, North Carolina, am proud to commemorate March 2021 as Bleeding Disorder Awareness Month in the town of Mint Hill. And whereas this designation will formalize and expand upon the designation 35 years ago of March 1986 of Hemophilia Awareness Month by President Ronald Reagan. And whereas the Federal Department of Health and Human Services designated March 2016 as National Bleeding Disorders Month. And whereas multiple states and local governments since 2016 have passed a proclamation resolution declaring March as Bleeding Disorder Awareness Month. And whereas bleeding disorder advocates during this month wear a red material around their neck, such as a scarf tie, and whereas these bleeding disorders, which share the inability to form a proper blood clot, are characterized by extended bleeding after injury, surgery, trauma, or menstruation, and can lead to significant morbidity and can be fatal if not treated effectively. And whereas many individuals with hemophilia become infected with HIV and hepatitis C in the 1980s due to the contamination of the blood supply and blood products, and whereas this Awareness Month in Mint Hill will generate greater awareness and understanding of not only hemophilia, but all heritable bleeding disorders, including von Willebrand disease, which alone impacts an estimated 1% of the U.S. population, or more than 3.2 million individuals. And whereas this Awareness Month will foster a greater sense of community and shared purpose among individuals with all inheritable bleeding disorders. And whereas this Awareness Month will elevate awareness and of and engagement in the inheritable bleeding disorders journey beyond our community to the general public, enabling the prevention of illness, unnecessary procedures, and disabilities. Now therefore, I, Brad Simmons, Mayor, Town of Mint Hill, North Carolina, do proclaim the month of March 2021 as Bleeding Disorder Awareness Month in the town of Mint Hill, witnessed by my hand and that of the town of Mint Hill this 11th day of March 2021. Brad Simmons, Mayor. Can't read my own writing sometimes. All right, item number 11 is announce the winner of the I Love Mint Hill photo contest, and I don't get the opportunity to do that because we've got a fine PowerPoint presentation put together by our staff that we're going to show at this time. So congratulations to our winners of the I Love Mint Hill photo contest. I want to thank Cheryl and staff, town staff, for putting together another wonderful contest and especially thank the citizens of Mint Hill who contributed a number of great photos. Evidently, their phones work better than mine do because a lot of those were a lot clearer than some of the pictures I take around town with my phone, but another great job. Item number 13, other business and council matters. Staff, do we have anything? Michelle? Mr. Fry? John? Nada? Chief Hatley? Chief Leith?
Yes, sir.
I saved you for last for a reason, sir.
Thank you, sir. So Mayor and Commissioners, in our retreat, I told you that we'd had our fire inspection, the state inspection, that they come around about every 5 to 10 years, and we get a new rating for the insurance for Mint Hill. So we did that, and we have the new number. But before I tell you the number, I'll give you kind of a little history how we got here. So back in 1980, we did our first, well, back up just a second. The scale that we run on is a scale from 10, meaning your fire department's it's not a fire department. And then it's basically from 9 down to 1. The lower the number, the better the rating, the better, and the more savings that residential and commercial businesses and residential homes and all get on their insurance here in Mint Hill. So in 1980, we did our first better than 9, and we got a 6. At that point in time, we were the first water haulers, which means we have a rural area without hydrants. We were the first water haulers to achieve a 6 in North Carolina. Then in 2005, we actually lowered our rate one more time down to a 5. They told us that would be difficult, but we could possibly do it. We did it. We were 1 point short of a 4 at that point in time. Then about 2 years ago, we hired some consultants for Mint Hill Fire Department and for the Matthews Fire Department. And what they did was they came in, they looked at what we had, how we were operating, the things and the way we operated, and made some changes to help us with bettering our number. So after doing that, we talked to them a little bit. We told them, we're a 5 now, we're 5 then. We wanted to achieve a 3. And they told us, they said, well, you might get a 3 in town, but you're not going to get one outside of the town. You might get a 4. So we dickered on whether we're going to do a split district or what we're going to do. So on December the 8th, 2020, they came in and did our inspection. When we got it back, we have got a 2. So.
Thank you.
Well, and I tell you what, the thanks don't get that, I know the chiefs get the thank yous, and we also get when things go bad, we get that too. But, I want to thank the guys that really made this happen. And it's my deputy chief and my 3 captains, because they make the operations run. They're the ones that keep the guys doing the training. They're the ones that keep the trucks up and keep the paperwork like it needs to be. That's all the stuff that the inspections do. So my deputy chief, John Phillips, we have Captain John Michael New back here, and Captain Justin Jacomowitz, and then I've also got Captain Mark Thomas, which is not here tonight. Without them, this wouldn't have happened. So. Also, just another little tip. Oh, also, we were 1.7 points short of a 1. We almost got it. So next time that's our goal. There's a little bit more information. In North Carolina, there's 1,521 fire districts. Out of those, only 38 of them are a level 2. And so that puts the Mint Hill Fire Department in the top 2.5% of all fire districts in North Carolina. So,
Good job.
thank you.
Thank you, Chief. That's fabulous. Commissioners, do you have anything this evening, Commissioner Holton?
Nothing, sir.
Or Pro Tem Dalton?
I got a couple things. Bob, you forgot to mention that you were incidental in starting the fire department, and I just want to thank you and Jerry Helms and Quillen for keeping Mint Hill from being a Charlotte. Thank you.
Mr. Cochran?
Bob, you forgot to mention some other night. I think Mr. Tweed was one that helped you with a fire department. We had a lot of fathers in that first fire department that we need to appreciate. And also, Mayor, we've had a lot of people that were cleaning the streets up this last week, last few weeks. I even took my grandson and I walked down the road, we had a good time cleaning up trash, but we'd like to see Mint Hill stay clean. So police officers, keep your eyes on these people throwing garbage out. Appreciate you.
Commissioner Long.
I would echo Commissioner Cochran's comment. Eddie Kirby did a great job pulling together citizens last Saturday for a couple hours of volunteer work, cleaning some of our side streets, and it looked great. And also, I'd like to compliment the chief and his staff. It seemed like there was some law enforcement today on some of our roads. The roads have gotten ridiculous with speeding and the way people are driving, which contributes to some of David's work with crashes as well. So thank you very much, Chief. Thank you, Mayor.
And Tony kind of stole mine there, Chief. I was going to thank you for the same. I would guess that Monday when I take my grandson to school at Bain, it'd be a lot fewer people passing me going down 51 through the middle of town. So if you'd like to comment on that, go ahead, right ahead, sir.
Sir, obviously on Thursdays at 5 p.m., historically speaking, that's our highest crash time throughout the year. That's why you're gonna see more lights on throughout the year on Thursdays typically.
Well, we appreciate the effort, so thank you very much. All right, we have a legal matter that we need to go into closed session for. I don't expect to return. So do I have a motion that we go into closed session at this time?
Make a motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? When I go to closed session. Thank you very much.